Brahman and Vaishnava. The conclusive comparison between Brahmins and Vaishnavas. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Translated by Bhumipati Das. Continuation 20. This Tattvavad, or Pancharatrika system, is not applicable in the opinion of Sriman Mahaprabhu. Rather, he taught the path of Bhagavat Marg. When Sri Gaurasundar, the Lord of Goloka, worshipable throughout the 14 worlds, visited the principal mutt in the village of Adupi in the district of Mangalore in the year 1511, Sri Raghuvarya Tirtha was the mutt commander. There is a description of Sri Chaitanya's visit in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 9, as follows. Translation. The chief acharya of the Tattvavad community was very learned in the revealed scriptures. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu humbly questioned him. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I do not know very well the aim of life and how to achieve it. Please tell me of the best ideal for humanity and how to attain it. The acharya replied, when the activities of the 4 castes and the 4 ashrams are dedicated to Krishna, they constitute the best means whereby one can attain the highest goal of life. When one dedicates the duties of varnasrama dharma to Krishna, he is eligible for 5 kinds of liberation. Thus, he is transferred to the spiritual world in Vaikuntha. This is the goal of life and the verdict of all revealed scriptures. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, according to the verdict of the Shastras, the process of hearing and chanting is the best means to attain loving service to Krishna. When one comes to the platform of loving service to Lord Krishna, by executing these 9 processes, beginning with hearing and chanting, he has attained the 5th platform of success and the limit of life's goals. In every revealed scripture, there is condemnation of fruitive activities. It is advised everywhere to give up engagements in fruitive activities, for by executing them, no one can attain the highest goal of life, love of Godhead. Pure devotees reject the 5 kinds of liberation. Indeed, for them, liberation is very insignificant because they see it as hellish. Both liberation and fruitive activity are rejected by devotees. You are trying to establish these things as life's goal and the process for attaining it, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said. Further, the fruitive worker and the speculative philosopher are considered non-devotees. We see both elements present in your sampradaya. End translation. It is further stated in the Madhya Lila, chapter 5. Translation. There is yet another characteristic of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. O devotees, listen carefully to how he manifests his opulence and characteristics, although they are exceptionally deep. To vanquish the false pride of so-called renunciants and learned scholars, he spreads real religious principles, even through a Sudra, or low-born 4th-class man. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu preached about devotional service, ecstatic love, and the absolute truth by making Ramananda Roy, a grihastha born in a low family, the speaker. Then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, the exalted Brahman sannyasi, and Pradumna Mishra, purified Brahman, both became the hearers of Ramananda Roy. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited the glories of the holy name of the Lord through Haridas Thakur, who was born in a Mohammedan family. Similarly, he exhibited the essence of devotional service through Sanatana Goswami, who had almost been converted into a Mohammedan. The Lord also fully exhibited the ecstatic love and transcendental pastimes of Vrindavan through Srila Rupa Goswami. Considering all this, who can understand the deep plans of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? End translation. It is not only the sampradaya acaryas who mistakenly compare the principles of karma kanda, like following varnasrama, with devotional service, like hearing and chanting. There are also non-devotee sampradayas, opposed to the principles of devotional service, who consider their misconceptions and various devices that bind them to material existence as Vaishnava practices. Though such persons claim to be Vaishnavas, according to their definition, Vaishnavas who are liberated from material designations know that they are attached to material designations. In his Bhaktisiddhanta, Sri Jiva Goswami Prabhupada has quoted various sources to describe a few categories of such Vaishnavas as follows. Translation. In the Skanda Purana it is said, quote, according to the fruit of workers, Vaishnavas are those whose lives are dedicated to following religious principles, whose sex life is meant for begetting children, and whose cooking is for satisfying the best of the Brahmins. End quote. In the Vishnu Purana it is said, quote, a Vaishnava is one who considers his actions are in accordance with the order of Lord Vishnu. He does not deviate from the principles of his varna and ashram, who treats his friends and enemies equally, and who neither destroys nor steals anything. Such a sober person is a devotee of Vishnu. End quote. Becoming a Vaishnava by offering the fruits of one's karma to the Lord is explained in the Padma Purana as follows. Quote, one whose life is dedicated to following religious principles, whose religious principles are dedicated for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord, and whose days and nights are passed in accumulating pious activities, is known as a Vaishnava. End quote. The symptoms of Uttama Adhikari, according to the Shivites, are given in the Brihanaradiya Purana as follows. Quote, those who accept Lord Shiva, the chief of the demigods, as equal to Lord Vishnu, the Supersoul, are considered Mahabhagavatas. End quote. End translation. Other similar statements are found in scriptures that are meant for pseudo-devotees and devotees who do not know how to practically apply the principles of devotional service. Actually, apart from unalloyed devotional service, all other activities of this material world fall under the categories of either impure devotional service or fruitive work with desires for the results. All such activities are subject to change, temporary, and contemptible. The imagined qualities of Vaishnavas and devotional service that the karmis, jnanis, and sense enjoyers claim to be supreme according to their respective tastes are unscientific, imprudent, and mere products of ignorance that are situated far away from pure devotional service. In this connection, one naturally thinks about the statements made by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the purifier of the entire world, Sri Mahaprabhu, regarding the identity of Sri Vishnupad Prabhuvara Srimad Raghunath Das Goswami, who was the treasure of Mahaprabhu's heart and a mountain of transcendental opulences. These statements are found in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya-lila, Chapter 6, as follows. Translation. My dear Raghunath Das, your father and his elder brother are just like worms in stool in the ditch of material enjoyment. For the great disease of the poison of material enjoyment is what they consider happiness. Although your father and uncle are charitable to Brahmins and greatly help them, they are nevertheless not pure Vaishnavas. However, they are almost like Vaishnavas. Those who are attached to materialistic life and are blind to spiritual life must act in such a way that they are bound to repeated birth and death by the actions and reactions of their activities. End translation. In the process of ascertaining who is a Vaishnava, many people misidentify one who is almost a Vaishnava as a real Vaishnava. Materialists and karmis are not included among pure Vaishnavas. Seeing their mundane endeavors, great personalities who are conversant in devotional scriptures call them Vaishnava-praya, almost Vaishnavas. They never make the mistake of regarding them as real Vaishnavas. Since we will discuss the behavior and dealings of Vaishnavas in a separate chapter, we will not elaborate on this point at present. By discussing the different grades of Vaishnavas, we have now been able to understand the different degrees of Vaishnavism. When one gives up the materialistic mentality of being covered by the conceptions of whimsical sense enjoyment, karma, and jnana, and favorably cultivates attraction to Krishna, this is called pure devotional service. One whose heart is naturally fixed in this principle is a pure devotee. The glories of such pure devotees have already been quoted from the Srimad Bhagavatam. The conclusion that is given by Sriman Mahaprabhu's dearmost servant, Sri Vishnupad Srimad Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, whose heart is none different from that of Sri Mahaprabhu, in his essay, Sri Upadeshamrita, must be followed by all pure Vaishnavas. Krishneti yasya giritam manasa dviyeta, dikshasti chet pranatibhischa bhajantamisham, shusrushaya bhajana vignamananyamanya, nindati sunya viramipshita sangalabhya. Translation. One should mentally honor the devotee who chants the holy name of Lord Krishna. One should offer humble obeisances to the devotee who has undergone spiritual initiation, diksha, and is engaged in worshiping the deity. And one should associate with and faithfully serve that pure devotee who is advanced in undeviated devotional service and whose heart is completely devoid of the propensity to criticize others. End translation.